Well, hello and welcome to Yellow Flag FPL, the podcast where all of our opinions should be yellow flagged. My name is Harry.
And I'm Tim Berry.
And it's been a disappointing week for me, Stephen. But I'm hoping that you can make me feel better because obviously you got your wild card. You showed me before. But how did it go?
Not great, mate. 0 attacking returns. My big hope, Statch has played every week. Didn't start against West Ham, one of the worst teams in the league. That was great. Darlow also lost his place. Don't know why. So basically, on Friday, it was already a disaster. And I got 0 attacking returns. Master Defence obviously returned, but it's not brilliant. Also, I had Van der Ven in my team. He didn't make it through the wildcard process. That was very heartbreaking as well. So yeah, no, all round not good. But as they say, you don't judge a wild card just on 1 week. I was only 6 points below the average. It could have been worse.
Yes. Yeah, that was particularly painful for me as well because I also took out Van der Ven. I did a triple change. I took out Van der Ven for Reece James. You know, those points aren't going to chase themselves. I did a slight sideways move of Calafiore to Gabriel, which I'm not unhappy with. And I took out Isaac, who was flagged for Mateta. Again, I'm not too upset with that because Mateta's got a great run coming up. But yeah, triple Chelsea I found myself on, and I'm not happy about it at all.
Do you want to leap into that game straight away? The mighty Sunderland. They look Premier League.
Mighty Sunderland,
and they are just very Premier League.
Yes, yeah. Well, I would say my disappointment of only 3 Chelsea players is surpassed by the fact that Sunderland played really, really well. So when I saw the team sheet come out, Mark Gu was starting up top, and I thought, brilliant, João Pedro back in the 10 position where he's scoring all of his goals, getting all of his points, brilliant. But yet again, he did fuck all.
Yeah.
It's also worth noting that no one got DEFCONs in this game.
Interesting.
0. No one. James actually got fewer DEFCONs than Walter Maid did in his game.
Okay.
Casado nearly scored a worldie, so I'm not upset about him. Neto, he got an assist and he got free bonus, but he's 7 million. So I guess my question to you is, Stephen, I own James, Casado and João Pedro. Classic FPL manager hindsight. Who would you get rid of, if any of those players?
Well, I'm getting rid of João Pedro myself for Mateta. I mean, let's just be frank. I mean, the most obvious shout to end all obvious shouts. I, like a lot of people, gave him one more chance. Also, Mateta at Arsenal, so I didn't see the point in bringing him in for that game. But yeah, my banker for this week is João Pedro to Mateta. But again, I don't think that's anything groundbreaking. So you have James and Casado. Again, I didn't really like the Casado shout in the first place. Reece James.
Casado was still top for DEFCONs. He was 1 or 2 away. I'm happy to keep him, and they've got a decent run. I think João Pedro is definitely a chopping box. I'm going to stick with Reece James for a bit longer. But again, I've got money in the bank to move around. Now I got rid of Isaac. So I think there's stuff to be done there. There's some room to play.
Yeah, fine. So no, I mean, I think if you're looking at triple, there's basically one team who I said you should have triple players for in that game, and it isn't Chelsea. Rove's got 4 points again, another great performance.
Yep.
Isidore obviously got a goal. Xhaka for once didn't get any DEFCONs but played very well. And they're all cheap, as I said. Triple Sunderland is the way forward. That's the one thing in my wildcard. It'd be nice if someone like a Xhaka got a goal or something like that. Or Rove's got a few more bonus, basically. He made loads of saves, and I think because the system doesn't really get any bonus points. But yeah, I mean, it sounds like Chelsea just did nothing in that game, and that's not the first time this season that they've done nothing. Like, where do we? Neto's gotten a few nice returns recently, but where do we place Chelsea? Probably not that high in the FPL perspective because, as mentioned, most of their players are quite expensive.
It is quite a weird kind of FPL setup when it comes to Chelsea because I do think that Reece James is probably overpriced given the fact that he could get injured any time. I think Casado probably is the only player that I know you don't like him for different reasons, but I think, we need to start thinking about DEFCONs a bit more seriously. And I think he's probably the player to consider the most out of all the Chelsea players. If Esteve was starting every game, I'd have him in the team. He is such a good player, right? He's a nifty little player, but he's 6.5 million, and for a player that you're not sure is going to start, that's just way too much. I've always liked Neto. Neto, when he was at Wolves, I thought he was class, but 7 million, again, too expensive. So yeah, I mean, Mark Goose, 4.2 million. Is he worth the risk?
Oh, wow.
Yeah, because loads of people owned him and then they sold
Yeah, of
him, didn't
course.
they?
Yeah,
So,
when he was at Sunderland for a bit. Yeah, of course.
so I think he's worth. I think he might be worth a punt, but
In other
I
seasons,
don't
you
know.
would say yes, but again, as mentioned, this is not really a heavy pricing season. So, also, he's only started 2 games. I think you'd probably want to see the laps back. I think soon, so probably not. Also, Barrett,
Yeah,
you really need to start saying Estival, not Esteve at Burnley, Estival.
I do. Estival. It's all the same to me.
Yeah.
There we go. But no. But I think what we're saying from it is Chelsea. Not sure. I'm gonna definitely be off the triple Chelsea by the end of this game week. I think in a couple of weeks, the only player that probably would survive would be Calcedo. Sunderland, yeah, triple. I think Isidor's worth an own. I also want to talk about the match winner. Is it Tabali?
Yeah.
Um,
It's 2-2 for him now, I think.
Yeah, we spoke about him pre-season. He's come from the Belgian league, so we weren't like, this is a crazy kid to go for. But he's 21 years old. He's 5 million. He's a decent player. Took the goal really, really well. It's a really nice goal. I know we haven't had the best of things to say about Sanchez, but he really left him for dead. But I probably would prefer Xhaka. But if you wanted a differential, I mean, he's 0.7% owned or something silly. So it's not a bad shout if he was starting every week.
And Sunderland have rotated their midfielders and their defence to a certain degree as well. It's only really, I think even Isidore has to start every game. It's only Xhaka, Rose, Hume, Ballard now that he's back. They seem to be the sort of consistent starters. But I think in midfield, definitely lots of rotation options there. And given he's got 2 and 2, why not? Why wouldn't he come into the team? So I think, decent punt.
Yeah, agreed. Okay, well, let's move on and talk about the first game you want to talk about. Now, I really hope it is the Wolves-Burnley game because I'm really hoping you finally see the light. Do you know what I also noticed? The reverse fixture is the last fixture in the season.
Is it?
Game week 38. Yeah.
What? So,
wow.
but Wolves go to Burnley.
Yes.
So, I mean, so what is that? But why does that matter?
Because they're both going to be in it. And
so you're saying there we go. So hold on. I've seen the lie, but you've just literally admitted that you think by game week 38, both of them will have a chance of survival. Surely, Barry, if they're that far behind, it should be a dead rubber. Burnley will be, 14th. Wolves relegated with minus 28 points or something. But clearly, you don't think that. You clearly think you've let it slip there, Barry. I'm afraid.
No, I think that Wolves will go down. I think that it's going to be the closest run season. And I do think that one will be gone by the last game week, but I think the last 2 won't have been decided.
Yeah.
And there's a chance because there's 2 slots there that Wolves are in that conversation.
Yeah.
West Ham could be done by then. You never know.
I think maybe talk about not 2 teams, but 2 goals. So the first goal that Leeds scored against West Ham, Jesus Christ, man. Like that, the defending from West Ham, just walking around. Whoa, I was like, that might be the worst goal I see this weekend. Wolves, hold my beer. I think it was the second goal. Like, the back 4/5. I was watching it, I'm like, are they 3 at the back? Are they 4 at the back? I don't know. Like, they kept switching around.
I think they knew.
Yeah.
I don't think they knew.
I cannot work out what they're trying to do there. It's weak. I think the West Ham one was probably worse on balance, but still the Wolves one wasn't very far behind. They've sold a lot of their good players, and they've brought in players who are worse. So you can have all the managers and managerial strength that you want.
Michael Owen, is that you?
Yeah. But I just don't. Yeah, their players aren't great, but I still don't think Burnley are very good. Burnley, again, conceded a lot of chances. Dubravka made 2 or 3 great saves. They are going to still concede a lot of goals this season, and I think that will eventually catch up with them.
Did you see after the Lyle Foster scored the winner, there was a moment Wolves broke the other side and they had an absolute amazing chance.
Dubravka worldie,
worldie, absolute worldie. That could have easily been 3-3.
I was going to say the difference between the 2 teams that day was probably the goalkeepers. Dubravka played well and Johnson didn't have one of his best games.
No, I don't think you can blame the goalkeeper for any of the goals. I mean, Sam Johnson is a good goalkeeper. He's a great goalkeeper. Like,
I think the winner, he could have been out quicker. Again, it was the poor defending. Again, what fullback they were playing with a back one on that one as well, chasing the game a bit. I know.
yeah,
But yes, but Dubravka made more than one world in that game. Like Wolves actually
yeah.
was 2.28 versus Burnley's 1.43, right? So, Wolves created a lot more chances, especially in the second half. But yeah, the amount of the goals they concede. Okay, let's put it this way. In summary, I still think I think Burnley's goal scoring is going to run out of steam. I can't remember is it Anthony or Cullen. I think they surely at some point can't just keep outperforming their levels here. The Foster finish was nice with a little bit of good fortune. I think they're going to keep going forward, but they're just going to concede a lot. So in terms of Burnley, I still think it's maybe not Operation Target as much as West Ham. But yeah, definitely still go for them. I mean, I'm going to triple captain this week, and I've got Saka potentially. The other person I'd potentially triple captain would be Voldemade at West Ham. Two lovely, an embarrassment of riches. Really, I can go for. So
Yeah. Not Gabriel, triple captain Gabriel.
Timber is in my thoughts as well. I would love to triple captain defender. Do not get me wrong. But yeah, look, just in quick summaries, from FPL perspective, Wolves and Burnley will concede. Quite honestly, quite frankly. If you don't have an attacker facing either West Ham, Wolves, or Burnley, I would be worried. Essentially, I think Dyche and I think it used to be Forest. Obviously.
Checks notes.
I think Dyche will start to do Dyche ball at Forest eventually. But yeah, you really want. I mean, if you can plan it that way, fair play to you. But yeah, Burnley, Wolves, and West Ham. Oh, Fulham. I'm not bringing that. Well, bring it. If I had a free hit, I'd bring in a Fulham player. But yeah, do definitely target. Wolves and Burnley cannot defend and will not defend. Essentially, I'm still saying though, Wolves will do another great escape. I'm holding on to this. I think it's going to be. Oh no, but the Nottingham Forest got Dyche now, for fuck's sake. No, they're probably gone now. Actually, that one managerial appointment has probably condemned them. To be fair,
I mean, I don't think it's about the Great Escape. Is never necessarily just about the team that performs the Great Escape. It's the fact that another team screws up, and I just don't see another team screwing up that badly.
Yeah,
like I think Wolves and West Ham are gone. I think they're gone. I'm going to go early and say they're done. They're gone.
You said West Ham were gone before a ball was kicked. To be fair to you, so you know.
Yeah. I think that, I do back, as I said before in the last pod, I do back Nuno more over Potter. But I just think that team looks so dejected. And it's filled with players relegation players, really. But yeah, I'm probably still comfortable owning Esteve. There we go. I'm comfortable owning him because, he does get DEFCONs. He does play. He's 4.0. I can sit him on the bench most of the week. So, but my rogue shout is another Burnley defender. But we'll get back to that.
Fair enough. The other thing is about FPL perspective. Larson scored. So sorry, both teams are similar. Larson does come back into the picture now because I think he'll score a fair bit in like 3 and 4-1 defeats. He'll be the one getting the 1 goal in the defeat for Wolves.
Yeah.
So I think, again, have attackers playing them. And if you need cheap options, Larson, Fleming, Anthony, Cullen, even Arias to a certain degree, they're not. If you need a cheap player for whatever reason, these aren't the worst options either.
Yeah. Fair enough. Okay, cool. Well, let's move on. And we'll talk about. I'm not sure I really want to talk about my team because it's such a painful thing to say. It's one of these moments where I was like, yes, we've scored. Shit, it's Van der Ven. I've just sold him.
That is the issue with FPL. It does make you forget. It does make you forget about your own football opinions. Basically, it can transcend that quite annoyingly.
Yes, I can hear people saying the game is gone. I think he might be the highest scorer in an individual game week so far this season. No, Timber. 24 points.
So I think Timber got an assist as well as the
game
the
week 2. He did, yeah. But Van der Ven got 23 points. Insane. Not only did he get the 2 goals, he got the max bonus. He got DEFCONs. I mean, I think it just shows when I sold him for James, points chasing doesn't always work. Yeah. I'm kind of okay with the decision because Spurs still have a difficult run. and I was thinking about benching him, and I said to you in the last pod, even if I still owned him, I probably would put him on the bench, which would have
Yeah.
been more painful, if anything. Um, so yeah, I'm not unhappy with the sell, although on the face of it, looks like a silly decision.
How many goals has he got for Spurs?
Worth mentioning as well.
Because I don't remember him scoring anything for Spurs really.
He's got 3 goals. He's got 3 goals this season. I think that might be his total.
Yeah. So
For us, and he might have scored once or twice last season, but he's the thing about Van der Ven, right? Is he's just so quick and he's so big, and his injuries last season weren't great, but I think I put that down to Ange rather than to him. So I think that he's still worth a decent, reliable player to have for FPL, but he's not going to score many goals. He's going to get DEFCONs every now and again, and and given the fact that everyone's going mental for the set piece, maybe he will pop up the assist or two. I mean, Kudus's balls into the box. He got the second assist, which is annoying, but Kudus's balls into the box are outrageous, unbelievable. Like they're just like absolute bombs going in there. Worth mentioning as well, Romero didn't start again. He seems to be struggling to come back from injury. He got injured in the warm-up before Villa. I didn't realise. That's why he's come out of the team. And Doggy as well has suffered. And as a result, Danso has come in with trying to impersonate Delap-esque throws because we're all back in the 1990s, according to Jamie O'Hara, because of Arteta. But he could be a short-term option for Danso for the defence. He got 21 DEFCONs in this game and bonus.
Okay, so my question I was going to ask you: were Tottenham good or were Everton bad? Was it neither? Just a bit of a fluke result. If he's getting 21 DEFCONs, Everton can't have been that terrible.
No, I mean Everton were good, but I think the problem with Everton, and Evertonians will tell you this, is they haven't had a good, decent striker for a long time. They've got lots of very. Yeah, I did like Beto last season, but I do think that he's not the top level striker that they need, particularly when they've got so many creative players like Grealish and Dye and various others, McNeil when he comes in. So I think that's their biggest problem is their defense. They were putting loads of balls into the box. Danso is just a machine. He's a monster. They put the ball in the box. He would head the thing out. Our midfield, Paulinho, Bentancur, people like Bergwijn when he comes on, they create a little bit. They get the ball up the pitch. They might lose it. Then the ball comes back in. Danso heads it out and repeat. And that was pretty much Everton's game plan for the entire time. And it meant that they were quite blunted in attack. So I think it's credit to Frank. He really did put a really good structure in place that didn't allow for them to be successful. And then obviously 2 goals from set pieces, and then Papsar coming off the bench, getting a goal. Very nice to see him back and doing well. So I'm hopeful that he starts a bit more, to be honest. I mean, my belief is that midfield 3 should be Papsar, João Paulinho, and Bergwijn. That would be the mid 3 that I would have, because Bergwijn, he's like a Labrador. He's brilliant. He just runs around a pitch with his floppy blonde hair, chasing every single thing that's possible to chase. It's brilliant. I love him. And he's on 40 grand a week. It's nothing. So yeah, if you have Van der Ven, obviously you're sticking. But look at Danso with a mind that Romero might come back. Spence started again and Doggy's out. That's sad. And Paulinho. He gets DEFCONs again. Got 14 DEFCONs.
None of their attackers. So Xavi, maybe could, but are they 2 rotation risks? They're not really doing it.
So Kudus came off in this game at 77 minutes. The first time he's been subbed all season, and they subbed him on for a midfielder, which meant that I think that that was a tactical thing. Frank just went, we're being overloaded in the midfield. Let's shore it up. Okay, fine. So I'm not worried about that. Kudus is the only attacker I would consider, because he's the only one that has the guaranteed minutes. Brendan Johnson started this game, didn't do much, probably conceded a penalty if VAR was actually awake in this game. But I think Kudus is the only attacker I would consider.
Fair enough. Well, and just on Everton quickly, they haven't got the best run coming up either. I think if you have a Grealish, hold him, but Sunderland away, Fulham at home, that's only good fixture. and I can't believe I'm saying this, Man U away. Is that now a difficult fixture? I believe, Barry, you have some words to say about that later, which I just can't bring myself to say myself.
I didn't actually prep for the Man United game, but we can talk about it if you like.
I watched it quickly.
They're fourth in the league, mate.
They're fourth in the league. Like, well, I wanted to. Well, I'll quickly on that. They were good going forward, rode the bit of luck, but they are annoyingly starting to see some signs there. That lad's hair is coming off. It's quite annoying. Like, it's actually the only thing that's funny is that of how bad Man City and Liverpool have been. I think we've got to take that into context, right? It's really annoying that actually that Arsenal threw away the Anfield game because, quite frankly, we should be going on invincibles again. We now obviously can't do that. We're now going to have to go for 100 points because this is the most Mickey Mouse Premier League ever. We're going to need to have
You've done it again. You've done it again. We're talking about Man United, not even touching Arsenal, and you've gone back to Arsenal. Stop. You're doing an Alan Shearer with Newcastle. Stick to Man United, honestly.
Didn't you mention Arsenal when you were talking about Spurs game earlier? Just as FYI. Just Arsenal are massive, mate. Everyone just gravitates towards us. Everyone's just like, oh, and Arsenal have changed. Arsenal have revolutionised the league. It's like, oh, I love the hatred, guys. More hatred. More hatred. If we're revolutionising the league and you can't keep up with us by copying us, fine. I'm happy with that.
I'm going to make this promise to the listeners. If Arsenal win the league, there will not be a season 3 of this podcast. Because I will not be bearing to be able to talk to you if they win the league. But no, I think Man United are worth a look in now. I mean, Mbemo got 2 goals, 2 goals, got 3 bonus. He looks like a Man United player. I think there's nothing else to say about that. I mean, how much is he now? It's 8 million.
But when's that?
He's second for midfielders.
Isn't he off for AFCON soon?
Well, that's January. That's a while away.
I think it's closer than you think it is. I think game week wise, I think it's closer than you think it is.
Let me have a look.
Yeah, just quickly on Man U. They had an XG in that game of 1.29 and got 4 goals. So, and don't get me wrong, they did do some really nice shots to sort of maximize that. Brighton were not at the races that day. Brighton always have that in them as a team. While there's some encouraging signs, I still don't think any of their players are worth the price. Their run is they've got Forest next, Tottenham away, Everton at home, Palace away, West Ham, Wolves. But it's not the worst.
Mixed. It's mixed.
It's mixed.
Yeah. So AFCON starts on the 3rd of Jan, mate.
Okay.
So you'd have like a good 10 game weeks. No, less than that. Yeah, no, you'd have 10 game weeks if you bought in a Brian Mbemo right now. 8.2 million, 21% owned. He's got 3 returns in his last 4. If I had a slot of 8.2 in my team in midfield, I'd go for him.
Fine. Anyway, I'll just quickly talk about Arsenal. First shot on target in God knows how long. Just have Gabriel and somebody else. It doesn't matter. Saliba went off at the 45-minute mark, interestingly. I wasn't entirely sure why. But just get Gabriel in. He's an absolute lock. I don't know how much he is, but he's going to keep rising in price. Haaland and Gabriel are now the absolute out and out. You just simply have to have them players. And then another one. I've gone for Timber personally. I think he's got more of an attacking threat than Calafiore. Triple Arsenal defence. The only question I actually have, Barry, for you is it worth having a Saka and actually just going triple Arsenal defence? I mean, they will obviously. I mean, the problem with that is that they are going to concede at some point, obviously. But their next run, Burnley, got Burnley and Sunderland away, Tottenham at home, Chelsea away. Okay, they're probably going to concede against at least one game out of Tottenham and Chelsea. But yeah, considering we're obviously, I say this, we're not the best from open play. Is it worth having a Saka? He is on corners, but most of the assists seems to be coming from Gabriel's flick on. So basically, and obviously you get nothing for the assist to the assist. It's also an issue with Declan Rice as well.
I wonder whether a double Arsenal defence, and if you wanted to save money, maybe an Eze.
Yeah,
I don't know how long's Odegaard out for.
A fair bit. It was 8 weeks. That was like a couple of weeks ago, and that's at best. That it's sort of like it's like a mini ACL injury, so that's not great. And with Ben White has also like had injury problems. That's why he's being nursed back in as well. Those where Timber is obviously keeping him out of the team on merit alone, not just because he's got a few injury problems. So I can't see Odegaard coming back into the team anytime soon. And Eze should have the number 10 berth probably till the end of the year at least, I'd say. So that's what that. We said that's 10 game weeks. Yeah, I mean, Eze could be an interesting differential. I suppose he's probably not that highly owned in the game. I'll look that up actually. But no, I'm not gonna lie. I'm just leaning towards the triple Arsenal defense. To be honest with you, I have got Saka. I'm not gonna get rid of him immediately, but I'm thinking longer term.
So would you go like Timber, Calafiore, and Gabriel?
Yeah, exactly.
Okay. Cool. Yeah, well, it's worth an ask, worth a look at. I'm personally never someone that likes a double defense, so triple defense gives me the shivers. To be honest, but yeah, let's move on. And I mean, I assume there was other parts of the Arsenal game that you wanted to talk about.
Just like Arsenal didn't have a shot against them for about 600 minutes of football. We've conceded 3 goals so far this season in the Premier League. Like,
yeah.
You got to remember the reason we're so confident in corners is because we're just so solid as a team. Like Zubamendi got 15 defcoms. That was quite interesting as well. So, but he hasn't really done. He's done okay defcon wise, but he's not like a Xhaka or anyone like that. I think it's just the way Palace played. He just had to be more involved defcon wise. Gabriel only got 9, but he usually gets more than that. So, no, I honestly, I think I probably am at some point pretty soon just going to have the Calafiore, Timber, and Gabriel, and then not worry about any other Arsenal player.
Yeah,
basically.
It is annoying. I have this really horrible thought in my mind that you're going to do it, and I don't know what to do about that information. I don't know how to process that information. I think I'll go into hiding for 2 months. I won't see you, Stephen. Sorry, I do like you. You're a nice bloke, but I won't see you. I just won't.
You can come back out to insult me about your actual favourite London club, which is Brentford, of course. You need to talk about Brentford, Liverpool.
Nice transition, Stephen. Wow, look at that. You're becoming professional. You've been taking classes. Jesus. Yes, I wanted to talk about the Brentford-Liverpool game. Mostly because I wanted to get your apology, Stephen, for your slander towards Brentford, saying that they would be relegation fodder and that they could never accomplish anything. And Kelleher and all these players are gonna fall into the abyss of missing all the players that they sold and manager and so forth. So, Stephen, you have the microphone. The nation is waiting. Mm-hmm. Please go ahead.
So yeah, they've outperformed. They're 11th. Well done. Well done, Brentford. Still bottom half of the table. When we're talking about relegated teams, I did forget about Brentford. To be fair, a bit like Fulham. If you're not Chelsea, West London clubs are very forgettable. To be fair, but Brentford are a team who can easily slip back down into the relegation zone. And just on Kelleher, the guy just conceded 2 goals. Really? Are you going to defend him in that game? Did he do much in that game? I don't remember him doing much in that game. Would you like to tell me say otherwise?
Well, I mean, Salah's goal was outrageous. The first goal by Kirkes, he can do nothing about because the defenders just go falls asleep at the back post. So I don't think either goal was his fault. I think he played well. I think he's generally a solid goalkeeper, and I think most people agree with that. But I think Brentford are just a good team. And at home, they've got a pretty good record. I think they, at one point, had scored their most amount of goals have been scored in Europe at their stadium or something, for and against. So it's an entertaining place to go, and it means that there's going to be lots of goals, and that gives Brentford lots of opportunities. I don't think this is necessarily about Liverpool being bad and Brentford being good. I don't think it's either or. I really don't. I mean, the second goal, Sade just burns Konate, burns him. It's an outrageous through ball by Dango, I think, who made the or maybe Lewis Potter, I think, made the ball through, and Sade just burns him and then scores a beautiful goal. I have to say as well, this could have been 4 or 5. I know it's a cliche, but Mamo Vashvili, the massive Georgian goalkeeper.
You've been older than Georgian. That's why your pronunciation's much better, isn't it?
Yeah, Well, also, the Georgian rugby team, they all end up with Vashilis. But he was outrageous. He made 5 saves, and they weren't simple blocks. A couple of them, he was at full stretch, and they were outrageous saves. So it could have been a lot worse for Liverpool. Obviously, Salah scored. They probably should have had a penalty. If they go back and look at it, in the first half, I think Gakpo gets tripped, and then the Brentford player gets nowhere near the ball. It should be a
Yeah.
pen. And then the penalty that Brentford had, I think it was really harsh from Van
Harsh.
Dijk. He was outside the
Yeah.
box. I mean, he was
Very
outside the
harsh.
box. I don't know what VAR was doing. So really, it could have gone another way. But I think the question that comes from this game is it worth owning any Liverpool players right now?
You've got to say probably not. Do you know what I think is another? And it's not very nice. Another key thing that was a problem was that Vert started as the 10 again, and that really, really is their problem. With Verts there, they're garbage. With Szoboszlai, they're not brilliant. There's a reason why they bought him for 110 million. They knew that was going to be a huge thing for them this season. Arsenal without Odegaard actually was very similar. I know he doesn't always get the assists and the returns, but where he runs the team and press, not having him was a problem until you get an Eze in who has a backup there. So if you're committed to this 4-2-3-1, if you don't have a good number 10, you're pretty screwed, to be honest with you. Compared to someone like Man City, Rangers, I know it's not, they don't play quite 4-2-3-1, but at least they've got somebody making the channels, and they're a bit unlucky against Aston Villa, which I'll get to later, and it is broadly helping a Haaland. Yeah, they don't. I mean, I said Ekatike didn't look good. Salah's not going to do that every week. Kirkus is so expensive. Van Dijk is so expensive.
Yeah. Van Dijk does get DEFCONs though. He does
Gabriel,
get DEFCONs.
Gabriel gets DEFCONs, clean sheets, and assists and goals. And they're basically the same price. Why would you? I think Van Dijk is even more expensive than like Timber maybe, and it probably is actually the same price. Why would you go Van Dijk over any of the three? Over any of the four Arsenal defenders? To be honest with you, and then even like Palace defenders, or even like a Newcastle defender, are like, no, not for me. And I think one thing that's obviously glaringly, it hasn't really been spoken about given how bad their attack has been, but Alisson really is the heartbeat of that team. They really fall apart without him there.
I don't know. I think this big Georgian goalkeeper, he's a decent keeper. I don't think that's the problem. I think
look
you're right with
your
your analysis.
Look at Liverpool's win rate with and without him. It's huge. It's absolutely huge.
Yeah, I know, but I don't think that's to do with his saving ability. But I don't think the problem is with Alisson being there or not. I think Alisson potentially adds leadership and maybe confidence to the defence. But Georgie, as we're going to call him now because we get rubbish at pronouncing Georgian names, he can still produce some outrageous saves. He was great for Valencia when he was playing there. So I don't think it's about the goalkeeper. I think you're right in your analysis that actually it is the 10. But yeah, I think Ekatike is probably the only player worth considering. But even then, he could be replaced by Isak. So, and Salah scoring, maybe if he gets the pen, he walks away with 15 points. Does that change anything? I don't know. It's also worth mentioning that Thiago of Brentford scored again, making the second highest scorer for attackers in FPL in the game. So, ticking along quite nicely. So let's look at Brentford, shall we? Because, I know you've written them off, as you love to, but, is it worth having a look at Brentford players again?
I do actually like Thiago, to be fair. He looks very talented. He looks really, really good, to be fair. Maybe just I know, as much as I like to double down on this, you got to remember why Brentford are Brentford. Their ownership, their structure, there's just so Moneyball. They're Brighton 2.0. They're very, very good at unearthing these players out of nowhere, and Thiago looks to be one of them. And if you compare that to a Wolves and a West Ham, who have, plucked players out of nowhere, but who are terrible, it is as simple as that. So yeah, Thiago at 6 million. Again, my front three is I'd rather have Mateta, Valdemarle, and Haaland. Personally, if I can afford that. But if I had to do for whatever reason find some funds, I wouldn't have an issue downgrading Valdemarle or Mateta to Thiago now.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. And also, just before we move on to the last game that you have, there were 4 ex-Liverpool players playing in the Brentford squad against Liverpool. Can you name all 4?
So Kelleher and Hendo, obviously. Shard, I think, was there at one point. Nope. No, is he not a youth player there?
Can I give you a clue?
No, I'd be struck. I wouldn't know after that. I don't know. So you can just tell me.
So it's Calavaro. Clavaro, the Portuguese attacking mid,
Right.
who was at Fulham before.
Is he?
Is it
Oh yeah, he did move.
Carvajal?
Yeah,
No,
he came on. Yeah, Carvajal, but he didn't come on, did he?
yeah, no, he was unused substitute, and then
Yeah.
Van der Berg. Van der Berg was there
Wow.
as well briefly at Liverpool.
Never would have
So
got
yeah,
Vandenberg.
no,
Carvalho, by
no,
the
it's
way.
funny. I didn't realize Carvalho and Van der Berg.
Your
Those are your
Portuguese
final two that you
pronunciation,
miss.
man. I mean, I know I've got a bit of a bias and strength over you in this regard, but my God, it is no bueno. That's Spanish. Oops.
I mean,
Now,
well,
now,
okay, just because you have a Portuguese missus, all right,
God.
fine. Okay, cool. So yeah, let's talk about the last game you wanted to talk about. Which one was that? The
Yeah,
Villa,
just Villa City,
City.
but pretty quickly though, which is
Mhm.
when the robot malfunctions. Woo, he missed some big chances in that game. The stats they had 18 shots, of which 4 were on target, XG of 1.18,
Wow.
XG on target of 0.17. So he is human. He isn't a robot. He's not going to glitch every week, but when he does, Man City can't do anything. They're a bit unlucky. I know he got the offside goal at the end, but he was offside. They still just, I mean, Rangers is shooting from outside the box. Basically, I'm saying don't go into Villa. Like, Matty Cash scores a worldie, but they were pretty poor again, to be honest with you. Just, yeah, if Haaland glitches, Man City have nothing. And I guess just quickly on FPL, you have to have Haaland. He will occasionally not score, but
Yeah.
I don't want any Man City players, to be honest with you. Like, I mean,
Yeah.
Foden wasn't brilliant. Your best mate Bob wasn't brilliant.
Mm.
Savinho, even Donnarumma. I mean, didn't have much to do, to be fair to him. Yeah, I just
Yeah.
don't want any.
Yeah, I mean, Ruben got DEFCONs. Savinho started again, which was interesting. Conte got DEFCONs. So there is some interest around those sorts of players. But, I mean, Haaland did have a goal ruled offside.
Yeah,
And
which
he
was offside, to be
clattered
fair.
into the post as a result. It
Yeah.
was offside, yeah. So I wouldn't be off-put by having Haaland at all by any means. But I
Their
agree
next
with
two
you. I
games are
wouldn't be owning any of their
Bournemouth,
players.
Liverpool, Newcastle. Yeah, definitely. I mean, always have Haaland, but like Bournemouth, Liverpool, Newcastle, Leeds at home,
That's difficult games.
Fulham away, and then
So,
Sunderland
question
at
for
home.
you:
Crystal Palace
as a
away.
captaincy
Like,
option, I own both Haaland and Saka. Who would you captain?
Saka. Bournemouth Bournemouth are a bit leaky. They're great going forward. They obviously when they get clean sheets, it's more to do with the team just not scoring. There's a reason why Senasai has 1 billion defcons. He has to do a significant amount of defending. So I can see Haaland scoring that game, but I just think Saka's going to do more personally. And again, if he glitches, it's not great. Saka's just going to. I just think Saka has a higher likelihood. Burnley, I still think have got the worst defense in the league in terms of chances created against them. I think Wolves are probably worse in terms of goals conceded. I'm not going to bother looking because I'm sure that's correct.
I think I might actually. I probably will captain Saka. I think I might save my triple captain for game week 13. I think it is when Arsenal have Wolves at home, or game week 16, sorry, and that's when I might triple captain Gabriel. Because then if he scores, it'll both prove my point that Wolves are garbage. You'll be celebrating. Everyone's a winner. Brilliant.
Yeah. Also, I did Wolves a disservice. They are not the worst defense in the league. West Ham are the worst defense in the league. West Ham have conceded 20 to Wolves' 19. Brighton are bottom 5, by the way, in defending. They've conceded 14 goals. 15 goals. And only Burnley and Forest are worse than them. So they're bottom 5 in the league in terms of defending Brighton.
Okay, cool. Let's talk about our bankers, Middling and Rogue, before we sign off. So my banker, we've mentioned him a few times on the pod, Mateta. I wouldn't be off put by his blanking this week. They are, as you said, the best defence in the league with Arsenal. He's got a great value and a great run until game week 16, to be honest. So you could have him in your team very comfortably, and he'll hold value. And yeah, I think he's just a decent shout. Middling, I'm going to counter what we discussed about owning no Liverpool players, and that is Szoboszlai.
Right.
Bit rogue. He is in a failing team, but he's starting. He seems to have the faith of the manager. But he's also creating a lot. So, and he does get a couple of returns. I think he's had 2 blanks out of 7 games he's played. He's 6.5 million. He got 22 DEFCONs, 3 bonus, and an assist in this game against Brentford. So I think he's worth a shout at 6.5 million. He's in the middling because he's not going to be the person necessarily creating all the time, and 6.5 is quite a lot. And my rogue shout, Stephen, as promised. And I mentioned him in the when we did our profile of promoted clubs. And that is, I can't pronounce his first name, so I'm not going to try. Hartman of Burnley.
Right, okay.
He got two assists in this game. He's got 4 returns in his last 5, so he's getting DEFCONs as well. He started every single game this season. He's 4.0. He's more attacking than an Esteve. He's 0.7% owned. He's got an okay run, and you can bench him most of the time. So if you're looking for a 4.0, I think Hartman's the option.
Okay, fair enough.
Have at it, Stephen.
I think that just sounds like he got 2 assists. Let's just lump him in. I think that on the rogue shout, but
Stephen, I never chase points. See James and Micky van der Ven for more details.
Yeah. So my banker's already mentioned Mateta. Just there's nothing more to say really. I've got Triple Palace as well. So get Palace in for this run. Really is definitely having Mateta probably more. Although interestingly, when Mateta, when he got his hat trick, I meant to mention at the time, he got the same points as Micky at Sunderland, who got a goal and a clean sheet, and Mateta got a hat trick. So it does show this is basically, I think a big issue that I'm having with my team is I'm not playing 5 at the back, and I really should be, and I'm going to start doing that a lot more because basically that just seems to be where the value is. My actually both my middling and rogue are actually both on the rogue side. Anthony Gordon is my middling. So he's scoring in Europe. He's been pretty poor in the Premier League. You would think at some point that would equalise. He's a good player. He's creating chances. He's playing West Ham next. That's a big benefit. Brentford away, who concede a lot. Man City misfiring. Everton, Tottenham, Burnley. So it's not the worst run in the world. So yeah, I think he's going to start getting more returns, Anthony Gordon, in the not too distant future. And then my rogue one is a bit of a point chaser as well, but it's Arison at Leeds. Leeds have a good run coming up. Arison came with a lot of promise to the Premier League when he came. Never really fulfilled it, but he's got his goal. He's starting every week. He's quick. He's a bit tricky. And yeah, they've got a nice run coming up as well. Obviously, the goal he scored against West Ham. West Ham just went, "Here's the ball, Arison. Would you like an open goal to put it into?" So he's not going to get that every week. But I think he just looks interesting. He's got the long hair. He's tricky. He's just sort of a player you want to do well. So yeah, he's my rogue shout, I'd say.
Yeah, he's also 0.1% owned. I noticed.
Wow, there you go.
Insane, really. I've never seen that before. Okay, cool. Yeah, well, that wraps up. I think that's a pretty good summation of where we are. I think my transfer is going to be João Pedro. Yours is going to be João Pedro. I think Waldemade is top of my list, but I'm open to ideas and suggestions, so please send those in. We've been Yellow Flag FPL. Hope you've enjoyed and we've assisted you in some way, shape or form. Thank you to Rita for all of her help with the editing. And we will see you next week. Good luck for game week 10.
Thank you.